Let's talk about the best civilization in 2023 in Rise of Kingdoms. My name is Shinchi42. If you guys love Rise of Kingdoms content, consider subscribing and turn your notification on. Today in this video, there's going to be some timestamps, so if you're looking for a specific type of civilization, we're going to talk about it, and you guys can just hover through the section, but I do recommend that you watch this video entirely, and if you find this video to be helpful, please consider pressing like into the video. So let's first talk about the starting civilization. So if you're a new player within the game, or maybe you're doing a restart project, you're probably thinking about what civilization can I use to restart? Or what civilization can I use if I'm starting out fresh into the game? So if you're fresh and brand new to the game, the civilization that I recommend for you is China. One of the big reasons why you are going to be selecting China is because of Sun Tzu as your starting commander. So if you're a beginner, you don't know this situation. Whenever you pick a civilization, you are going to get the starting commander that is given. All right, so China, you get Sun Tzu. For example, if you choose Japan, it is going to be Kusunoki Masashige. Now, choosing China is really good because Sun Tzu is a very powerful commander that can actually be used in a many situation, many combination pairing as you play along the way in the game. Another great thing about the China civilization is that it has the building speed plus 5% and also a 5% AP or action point recovery that will help you grind barbarians throughout the game, especially in the early stage. Another option, if you don't really want to get China, another option for you to use as a starting civilization is also Japan. Japan will help you with, scouting the map faster if you want to save time from that one. You are going to get Kusunoki Masashige, which is also a very good commander in Rise of Kingdoms. It is almost the same as Sun Tzu, but Sun Tzu has a lot more wider application than Kusunoki Masashige. It also allows you to gather any type of resources a lot faster by 5% more. But honestly, what I would recommend is using the civilization China as your starting civilization in Rise of Kingdoms. Now, as you reach your city hall to level 10, you are going to be able to get a civilization change. In that situation, you can change your civilization. Now, once you change your civilization, you are going to basically keep the starting commander that you have, even on the main quest, but you are going to change all the buff and as well as change the special unit. Now, once you get into the mid game as you're progressing within Rise of Kingdoms, this is the moment where you're like trying to achieve getting tier 4 and tier 5 units. There's two civilizations that I recommend for you. First civilization that I recommend is Korea. Why Korea? So Korea is because you are able to have this research speed by 3%. That will help you to reduce the amount of research time to complete the tier 4 units and tier 5 units. And I'm telling you, completing these tasks, this research is extremely takes a lot of time. So you want to reduce as much so that you don't have to spend a lot of speed ups onto unlocking these tier 4 and tier 5 units. The prerequisite for those is insane. And keep in mind, if you are going to get T5, you need to have all your economic technology maxed. Another option, if you don't want to use the Korea civilization, you can then also use the Egypt civilization. I would recommend this for those who are spenders. Because if you are an archer setup, then you can get some benefit for archer attack and also rallied army damage by 5%. So if you're launching a rally, that helps you out. So this is a pretty much win-win situation for the spenders if you're thinking about trying to reduce the cost of your building and as well as your research speed. It is 1.5%. It may seem very low, but it does make an effect when you're doing a lot of research and building upgrades. Now, you can also remain in China civilization if you want, because in this mid game, you're still trying to improve your building. You do get 5% building speed, but once you've gotten your city hall to level 25, you pretty much have everything maxed out that you need, then you should probably switch to Korea in that moment. Now, let's talk about the best training civilization. The best training civilization would be Germany, as you get troop training speed by 5%, and then also the Great Britain civilization, because you're also going to get 5% training speed as well. Now, the Britain is more for archer civilization, and then Germany is for cavalry civilization. Germany is really good as well because it has action point recovery. I believe these are the only two civilizations that gives training speed. So just take a quick look. If you are thinking about like making massive troops, switching into one of these civilizations will definitely help you to create more troops at a reduction rate of speed ups to use, because you have that 5% training speed boost. And don't forget, whenever you're making a massive troop training, or maybe you're gemming some troop if you're a whale, don't forget to get the training rune, and as well as if you have the kingdom buff, try to get the kingdom buff, and as well as a kingdom title like the Duke. Now let's talk about what is the best rest period civilization. Now when I talk about rest period, this is where like you're going to be just killing barbarians and barbarian forts. So what you need for this is a action point recovery. So during the rest period, you want to do as many barb forts, because whenever you do a lot of barb forts, it does help your alliance. Like for example, this, we have a lot of barb fort trophies in here. It helps your alliance to unlock this crystal, and you get a lot of speed ups from this as well. And you help your alliance to increase its gift level. Plus, you get a lot of benefits from doing the barb forts, because you get some action point recovery from here. You get some speed ups, and as well as some resources and VIP points as well. So what is the best civilization for that rest period? I would recommend with Germany. As I mentioned earlier, Germany is a good training civilization. It's also really good for rest period civilization. It has a 10% action point recovery. I think this is the best civilization for the rest period. But you can also choose to, stick with China, because China also has a 5% recovery. So if you're like not City Hall 25 yet, you can definitely consider staying with China, because you have this 5% recovery of AP, and you also get 5% speed for buildings as well. So China is also a good civilization to stick with. But if you are already City Hall 25, you're already max tech, and you're in the late stages of the game, then I would recommend, if you're thinking about like doing some switch, because you want to do a lot of bar forts and pretty much grind during the off season, then Germany is the best civilization that you can use. Now, let's talk about what is the best civilization for your farm accounts. Now, for farm accounts, you don't really need to focus on PvP fighters, right? You don't need to focus on AP. Well, technically, you can focus on AP, then you have to choose the Germany for that one. But the farm accounts are more focused on gathering resources. What is the best civilization for gathering resources? I would recommend that Japan to be your farm account civilization. Japan has the resource gathering speed by 5%. This allows you to gather 5% more gold. So if you look into other civilization, they don't have specific ones that dedicates for gold. There is a food gathering speed. There is a resource production by 20%. There is a wood gathering speed by 10%. And you can also see that there is stone gathering speed by 10%. So it doesn't really help you out if you're farming for gold. And, the end game is farming for gold. So if you are in that end stage of game and you need a lot of gold, your farm accounts should switch to Japan civilization. Now, if you are specifically looking for wood, then you go for France. And if you're specifically looking for food, then you switch for Rome. But Japan would be the ultimate farmer account civilization that I could recommend for you. Now, let's talk about best war situational civilization. So this is the point where like you're in active war and you're like, oh God, I need help on my hospital. So what civilization should I change to? One of the best civilization to change to is Korea, because you'll get like 15% hospital capacity. So that allows you to basically fight longer in the battlefield. And if you are one of those in the Kingdom of Imperium and you need to draw power, switching to Korea is actually a good option to do, so that you can stack in more troops into the hospital, and then your power can be lower. And if you're thinking about migration, 15% lower is helpful as well. So switching to Korea, if you're thinking about migrating to lower your power, is also a good option. Another option that you can do with a similar concept is Byzantium. It also has a hospital capacity of 15%. Now, France is another option that you can use as well for the situational. It gives you a healing speed of 20%. So if you're trying to use your speed ups, then you want to use the France civilization. So everything has their own situational. It really depends on what situation you're in and making those changes within the game. What is the best rally civilization in Rise of Kingdoms? So Egypt is the brand new civilization in Rise of Kingdoms, and this is also one of the best rally civilization, really focused on archer civ. But if you are going to be for cavalry, then you can use the Arabia civilization because this is good for rallying. The Vikings is also good for rallying, because it has this counter-attack damage, but most people will probably be using Arabia. But if you are infantry, I'd say Viking is a good civilization to launch rally with. Another option that you can use for rallying is Ottoman Empire. It gives your archer health plus 5%, which is huge because archer health is quite low. So 5% more is really helpful, and you get that troop marching speed to get you faster into the battlefield, and then you have the active skill damage plus 5%. Now, the marching speed and active skill 5%, this is universal. It will apply to every single troop type. What is the best open field civilization? All right, this is getting juicy because many players will probably focus on open field civilization. Now, I would say the ultimate best for the open field civilization is the Ottoman Empire, but of course, this is for archer units. But if you are a mixed troop type and you run at least some archers and you're focused on skill damage, right? This is a civilization that you can use. So for example, for me, I have every single marches that requires, active skill damage, right? So I am using the Ottoman Empire currently, which is really helpful in the battlefield and gives you, marching speed plus 5%. And also I am an archer main, so I have 3 marches of archer, 1 march of infantry, and then 1 march of cavalry, which all benefit onto the active skill as well as the troop marching speed. Now, if you are mainly focused on infantry, you can use the Rome civilization. It gives you an infantry defense of 5% and troop marching speed of 5%. Now, keep in mind the suggestion that I'm suggesting here has also really good special unit that will help you and benefit you within the game. Another option that you can do is France. If you are a free-to-play or maybe you are a very mixed unit, then you can use France because it will increase the troop health of every single troop type by 3%. And it also help you with the healing speed as you are battling within the game. Now, another option that you can do is Vikings. I like Vikings, honestly, if you are infantry main. Viking gives you 5% infantry attack and also the counter-attack damage by 3%. Now, keep in mind that the counter-attack damage will apply to every single type of troops. You also get 10% troop load, which allows you to get more resources if you're trying to plunder somebody's city. Now, the worst civilization, I want you guys to kind of guess what is the worst civilization out of all of the civilization that we have talked about in Rise of Kingdoms. Leave it down in the comment section below because I'm curious what is the worst civilization. I should say the worst civilization for me is the Spain. It increases cavalry defense by 5%. Yes, that's cool. Experience gained from barbarians and other neutral units and resource production by 20%. This is pretty practically useless when it comes to late game, all right? The ultimate best civilization that I would say that I would recommend if I was to choose, I would say for me, it is the Ottoman Empire. This is probably the best civilization that works with rallying, open field, and everything within the game, except, of course, development. So if you're focused on PvP, Ottoman Empire is the best civilization in Rise of Kingdoms. So with that being said, guys, thank you guys for watching this 2023 best civilization in Rise of Kingdoms. I've given you many situationals in here. I hope this video is helpful. Press like into the video, and I'll see you guys again next time.